We are back here at Shattered Darkness. I just want to say, man, today's just been, it's like, what, 10:30 in the morning? This has been the best morning so far. Like, I've had the worst, not the worst, but I've had a couple rough days. But today, man, I'm just feeling super grateful. I can just feel the presence of the Lord in the room, you know, and super excited to talk to a good friend of mine, somebody, honestly, that I just recently met. His name is Case. How you doing, my man?
I'm wonderful, man. I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, dude. We're so happy that you're here. Excited to hear your story. Just briefly, I met Cash through Roof Source.
Correct.
He works, did a quick stint at Roof Source, had a long one. So Cash is a local roofer here in northern Colorado, and I'm assuming you serve the Denver community as well?
Yeah, all of northern Colorado.
Yep,
I mean,
cool.
Denver, up to Cheyenne, we're up there as well.
So what do you guys do with Roof Source? What's your kind of...
So specifically with my role,
yeah, what you
I'm at Roof Source. I'm just a project management and sales guy. Specifically realtors. I just chase realtors.
Nice.
I'm not a storm chaser. I'm a relationship guy. So yeah, mostly residential. I mean, my roofing journey started as a commercial installer. So I have that background, can do that. But I got out of the corporate world to sit at kitchen tables, which is so much more laid back.
Yeah, and honestly, dude, fulfilling.
It really is. You feel like you're doing something.
Yeah, you get to connect with people and solve a problem, and
right.
I love that too. That's awesome.
Corporate side thing, they're spending somebody else's money, so it's not so important to them.
Yeah,
right. So, anyways,
well, that's awesome, man. Well, Aaron, is there anything you want to add? Do you want to plug the subscription side of all this?
As always, we appreciate everybody that's liking and subscribing, and just keep following along. Share it with your friends.
Please, the subscription thing is huge for us, and YouTube is our major platform right now. And if we can get ourselves to 500 subscribers on there, then we can start to look at some monetization options, and just honestly, we're going to pour it back into the podcast, better cameras, better equipment, all of it, man, just so that we can put out some better content and really help you guys kind of work through your battles.
How far along are your subscribers? Where are you at?
We're at 211. I think I looked last night. We're at 211.
I think 500 is a goal.
Yeah, dude. And I feel like it's attainable,
That's the next milestone. The goal would be, we take 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
It makes sense though. Milestone one at a time, right? You can see that. You can do that. I think 500 is visible from there.
And that's the thing. It's like you got to stay 6 inches in front of yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm the guy that future trips,
Yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you mean by that.
So I'll get too far out in the future, and he's got to rein me back in,
Yeah, no, I'm very much that guy as well.
Well, dude, why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, where you from, kind of what you're doing. I know you said also you had a side business that you wanted to talk about too, so please mention that.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd be remiss not to shout out. So I'm from Texas.
Okay.
Born and raised in North Texas, just a suburb of Dallas, a little town called Waxahachie. The other thing that I do there vocationally is I have a roofing company that I'm partnered with my brother there, Southern Brothers Roofing. So
nice.
Everybody in Texas knows me from that. Everybody in Colorado knows me from Roof Source, silent partner on one side. So born and raised in northern Texas. I was the second youngest kid of 9 children. It was my parents were married at the age of 1. So there was steps and stuff. But I remember my mom telling me, if I call my half brother, she would say, well, you can only hang out with him half the time. You can only play with him half the time. You can only play with half his toys. And so, we were taught family's family.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. The 9 kids.
Yeah, that's a lot, dude. It's 2 homes. You're bouncing back and forth. And there's I had 2.
So it was kind of split family that joined up again. Or?
Yeah. Okay. It was 2 split families that got together.
Gotcha.
It was a mess, dude.
Was it fun?
Yeah, fun's the way to put that. You could describe it as fun. No, we definitely had a blast. Yeah. I my partner in crime, my little brother Carson, my team. He's my partner in Texas. We still have fun. We went on. He was with me on that elk hunt. And so I do.
That's cool.
Some family comes and goes. And
how close in age are you guys?
Me and Carson are 3 years. He's 3 years younger than me.
Okay.
So
I have a younger brother. He's 2.5 years, dude, and the relationship I have with him is unlike any other relationship I have.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome. I love it. So grateful.
I have this weird thing where I see him. It's so I don't know if that I see my oldest son as a little brother or I see my little brother as a son.
Yeah.
But when I talk to them, I get their names mixed up. They're like,
Do you really? It's kind of in that
it's weird.
subconscious,
And
like,
I think it's more that I think my son as a little brother because he's just so dang smart, dude. He's just
Dude, and you know what? Somebody told me this a long time ago, like on the kid topic. Like, we've always talked to our kids like adults, you know, and sometimes probably too much. Like,
yeah.
I'm kind of bad with the swearing thing, and my son's 4, right? And he freaking says everything that I say,
Sure.
you know. And so, but at the same time, like, I think that's a good thing, right? I think that progresses their like processing,
Yeah.
you know, right? And so it's like, obviously, there's a lot of crap that escapes them, and it's like they wake up in the morning and forget everything they learned the day before.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a not to get sidetracked here, but like there's the oldest male in the Bible gets like the double portion, right? In the Old Testament, raising my oldest son, like he gets the hard me. He raised me. I often look at the youngest boy, and I treat him like a baby, not a baby, but like a kid. I treat my oldest son like an adult, and I feel like, man, that kid he deserves the double portion because he gets double.
I totally get that mentality, bro.
He gets it hard, man.
Yeah,
and I love him. And I hate that. It's hard, but I don't want him to miss his childhood because I see him as a as an adult, right? So,
how old is he?
he's only 13.
Okay,
He's still a kiddo, man. It's a little guy. Yeah. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. We're gonna.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say. So, born in Texas.
Yeah. So, born in Texas. I went to school, a town called Waxahachie. My oldest sister, I remember as a kid, what kind of led me down the path that, has me in the seat here today. I remember my oldest sister getting yelled at, getting in trouble for drugs constantly. Mom was searching her room and all that fun stuff. And so I was always so curious. I'm like, what is this taboo thing? And I know my mom was absolutely terrified to the point where, she probably overextended her fear into,
like put it on you guys a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think, and that's not uncommon. It's something that we practice with our kids today is like not let our fears, control our relationships with our children. But, because of that fear, the curiosity pushed me. And I remember my mom, searching my room when I was like 13 years old, and rightfully so. I'd started smoking weed when I was 13 or 14 years old. And it was just, I'd smelled it. I had smelled it at a friend's house, and I went to a party, and I went back to a friend's house and I smelled it again. I was like, dude, your house smells like weed. And he was like, yeah, my dad smokes. And I thought, why have you never told me? Like, this was my best friend, dude. Like, what are we doing? Let's get after it. Right. And so got a little cocaine and went out back and did the thing, you know what I mean? And nothing happened the first time. And I thought, okay, it's
like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, dude. Then I went to a party with my big sister at some point, and a different big sister. And, it came out and I was like, oh yeah, sure. I got that, passed it this way. And I got blasted. Dude. It was not good, man. I'm not sure if we need to cut this, but I was watching Super Troopers eating a big jar of Jif peanut butter at like this drill team party. So there's this young, beautiful little girls running around everywhere, and I'm like 14, 13 years old, like eating peanut butter jar. Anyways, it's one of those cringe moments. I look back, I was watching Super Troopers, and like I remember seeing the oil on top of the peanut butter, thinking, "Is that honey?" Like I was so
that's hilarious.
Gone, dude.
So, dude, when that happened though, like, what happened? Did you just fall in love with it?
I don't know that.
Do you remember kind of like emotionally, like, were you scared? Like,
it was awesome to me, dude. It was a different world, and I knew that like as soon as I got a chance, because of how big of a deal it was already, I was gonna try it out. Yeah. And I've always been curious, man.
Dude, and I feel you on that one.
There's not really much like, there's a lot less these days, but typically, like, I'm the kind of guy like, I'll just try something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to keep me from trying something. And so I was that.
Do you think that you're like, do you get like, I don't know, do you like these adrenaline rushes? You know what I mean? Like, do you do things that kind of are like, oh shit?
Yeah. No, for sure.
I mean,
I'm not a Red Bull adrenaline junkie guy. I skateboarded as a teenager, which kind of furthered those relationships. That's what we did. Yeah. But yeah, I loved that. But I mean, I was terrified. Like all in an 8 stare, I was always like, oh, I can't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But still, getting in trouble, stealing, shoplifting as a kid, like I was looking for that rush, dude.
Yeah, okay.
Even later in life, in marriage, like I knew, like when I was acting out, dude, I was chasing a little bit of a rush, I was for sure, without question.
Would you say it's to the point where it's like, so I'm learning this right now, like through my psychiatrist and stuff, but like, she's like, honestly, dude, you might be slightly bipolar, and it's like I have these episodes, like these mental episodes of like, not necessarily mania, but kind of mania, where it's just like anxiety kind of takes over.
Yeah.
And it's just like your brain red, and that's where the future trips come from,
Yeah.
And it's just like everything is super negative, right? And honestly, it's like I get these feelings that I just kind of want to blow my life up, And it's like they're definitely not as deep desires as they used to be.
Sure.
But do you experience that at all?
I'm going to tell you, I didn't know a human could be as happy as I am today. I didn't know it existed.
Right?
I mean that wholeheartedly.
Dude, I agree. Yes.
And it's been several years that I've strung, because there was always like the emotional sobriety for me and the chemical sobriety, right? I would be chemically sober for a long time, but be just hammered in depression or, way manic, where I'm like trying to start 2 businesses at once and doing all kinds, just a knucklehead. And the family's like, well, here goes cash again,
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. I don't think that the bipolar and my drug use are mutually exclusive. I think that they were
Connected.
They 100%. Because when I recognized, when I was diagnosed bipolar in the mid-20s, 2025.
Were you really?
Yeah. And what it was is I recognized, like, every year, this is after, we'll go into this, but it was like this, every year around a certain time, I was acting out certain ways. You know what I mean? Like, all of my affairs, my crazy binges were
totally,
like seasonal. And
like you could almost time them.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm a journaling guy, and I would like go back or I would write in my Bible, because I was really trying to chase God. I just didn't know. I don't know. It was a discipling thing, whatever.
Right.
And his grace was good, right? He never, I would bounce back and forth, but I would look at the Bible and I'd look at the dates. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here I am. So, yeah, dude, I would, with 12 steps the first time, white knuckles the emotional, the bipolar mental health thing for probably 2 years. And then I finally just went and saw a psychiatrist because I hopped back on marijuana for the depression and like PTSD, dude. Yeah. So there were some things that happened to me as a 6-year-old kid, dude, that were not cool, man. It was, we can also go there in a second, but there was, I believe there was some PTSD alongside that. So Texas had this, cannabis deal where they could, it's not like it is here, but you can get.
It's like decriminalized.
Yeah, if you get the prescription. Well, I got the prescription.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And when I realized, like, I don't remember what it was. It was like 10 milligrams a day, and I was burning through that, dude.
That just
and I went all the way, and I went back into psychosis. And so that's when I was like, okay, I need to marry the two, like sobriety and get to the psychiatrist, get with the counselor, start talking through some stuff and revisit. So yeah, I think they're 100% to answer your question. I think the mental health thing is a massive part of it. And I don't want to, I read a study, and I wish I had more information on it, but it was somewhere in like the low 90th percentile of people who experience like a bipolar, schizophrenia, personality disorders, mood disorders, have experienced some exposure to tobacco, alcohol, some mind altering substance, right? So I always wonder if those things don't flip that switch for us, even a mild thing like.
Do you think
tobacco.
maybe it's deeper than that, though? Like, you can tell me to like no if you want to, but like, what happened when you were 6? Do you mind if I ask?
Absolutely, I wouldn't go there. So I was molested by these 2 neighborhood girls. It was really sad because one was my age, one was a year older than me, and man, that was like, the shattered. I described that as like the first moment where I felt shattered. That was tough, man, because it was 6, 7, 5. I was a youngster.
Yeah.
And these girls, invited me to this little dumpster enclosure apartment complex and showed me things that obviously some grown man had showed them, right? Which was, that's hard, right? I don't blame those little girls.
Did you know that at that age, though? Like,
no, man, that was my first exposure. Yeah. But what shattered me was I knew something was wrong. Mm-hmm. Something was off. Like I knew I had crossed some kind of line,
Right.
but I liked it at 6 or 7, whatever. I think it was 6, but I knew that I liked it. And I remember I can still I can feel I'm leaning up against the brick wall at apartment complex. I can feel the warm bricks on my back and like my head and my knees and my arms folded. I'm like crying, like what's happening? What's going on inside of me? At 6 years old, dude, so
It's crazy,
that
man.
I know.
Dude, and that programmed you, right? Like, that is subconsciously. Like, and, dude, that was probably the first time that you felt that, like, and correct me if I'm wrong.
rush,
That
dude.
rush, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
dude.
And at
100%.
6 years old, dude, that gets like
burns
stuck
in there,
up there.
dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that creates a pretty hefty neural pathway, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
That like gets rode. And it was rode hard.
You know what's fucking crazy, man, is like I can identify a lot to what you're saying because I'm maybe not as I've not been diagnosed bipolar.
Sure.
But I definitely show some of those tendencies.
Yeah.
So, it's like brain chemicals, right? Like too much dopamine,
Right.
Not enough serotonin. So it's like trying to level those things out. But dude, this is crazy. Like that happened to you at 6. When I was 6 in first grade, maybe 7, dude, I would invite all the little girls in my class to come behind the bookshelf and kiss me.
Yeah.
And feel that same emotion,
Yeah.
dude. Like, and I remember telling my parents about it and feeling so shameful, right? And then it was like, I don't know, man. Like, you saying that kind of like brought down, I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's just wild. You know what I mean? And it's like, I knew it was wrong.
Right.
But at the same time,
You don't know what's happening.
yeah, it's exciting, and it's
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I want to feel that again. That was cool.
100%.
So, dude, I appreciate you sharing that. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
for sure, man.
that's awesome.
No, it's it is what it is. Like it's part of my story, and I do believe that it's not the end of my story, and
Right.
it's only the beginning. And I believe I'm still writing a story, but I'm grateful for where I am today. I am grateful for the life I get to live and live, and this life isn't without that story, right? Like it includes that.
You have to acknowledge it,
dude.
and that's what we're starting to unpack on this thing is the trauma piece, right?
Yeah,
Like, I feel like addiction is a symptom to it. It's a Band-Aid over a deeper wound.
Oh, dude, we always say like the thing is never the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the thing is that whatever it is that we're running to, whether it's nicotine, cell phone, it's never the real thing.
Right.
And it is as simple as a nicotine cell phone, running to Taco Bell, whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever it is that it doesn't always have to be like hardcore porn and cocaine. You know what I mean? It's like, what am I using? And today I work on that with guys. I'm like, personally, like, man, I'm running to this, whatever it is, I'm running to TikTok. Like I need to invite you in, let you know I want it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, for sure.
But yeah, that was like beginning of I believe the turmoil. And I think that everything else that reflected on the sexual side, because it wasn't just chemical for me. It was very much sexual dependence for me.
Right.
My first time through the 12 steps, I was unwilling to admit that I was you want me to back up a little bit? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So I started partying pretty hard as soon as I could, right? In high school, getting away, skateboarding, smoking weed. Tried some cocaine in high school. It went to quickly just like whatever I could do. I met my girlfriend too. I was the dope head skateboarder guy. She was like the hottest girl in school just by far, man. And way out of my league, dude. And I remember going to like parties and me and a buddy we'd bring weed or whatever we could to like be invited to their parties and to get around this girl. We ended up dating, and to this day, she's the best thing in this life that's been given to me. Like she's just it. And I believe my creators used her multiple times, or the lack of her, to open my eyes and say, hey man, is this life living without her? And the answer is no. So it's either death or her, and then kids after that. But, so we started dating in 17, 18 years old. I graduated high school. She was going to UT in Austin, Longhorn girl, good girl, dude.
Poor girl.
Yeah, right. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of those, right?
Boomer sooner, dude.
Yeah, right on, dude, right on. But I was still, I was valeting at a hotel in Dallas, and I wanted to go to college, and I had someone who was, anyways, we'll back up. So I got caught. So I got somebody at a a wealthy relative step in, and of all my brothers and sisters said, "Hey, I want to pay for you to go to college. Let's get out of here. I'll pay for your apartment complex, or apartment, and pay for your books and all that fun stuff." And so I was like, my big break, man. That was like, no, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's
an amazing
that was
opportunity.
crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
That didn't happen to guys like me, right? And I freaking screwed it, dude. I mean, I ended up going to jail, DUI. That's a long story, but he kicks me off the payroll. I moved back in at home, and I'm valeting, and I've got this hotel job where like I'm working the busy shifts on weekends in downtown Dallas, and I would, I was doing coke and heroin to, and I say heroin loosely, like it was heroin, Oxycontin, whatever.
Opioids.
Yeah. And it was like a coke to stay, coke for the day, and heroin to get me to sleep, right? Well, I'd run out of Heroin Connect, and or OxyConnect at the time, and I needed some pills, and so my girlfriend's parents were out of town, and so I cracked into their medicine cabinet and got some Codones or Xanax or something to help me sleep. She found out. I got a phone call. She's like, "We're done. I'm out. This is crazy." Last straw. She knew, to an extent, but she didn't know how bad. I was as functioning as you could be. And so I just remember telling her, and my mom had met a guy. My mom had been kind of chasing me around with a drug test for a while, trying to get me to quit smoking weed. She didn't know either what was going on, but she didn't want me smoking weed. She said there's a church that's got a sober living house, and you should check it out. And I had no reason to, right? Because I had everything I wanted. The hottest girl in school was my girlfriend. At this time we graduated, but still, and so she's out. And at that point in time, I was like, this is it. Like, I don't want life without this girl. So I had $300, got a hold of that guy. I was like, hey, I want to join this program. I went to the local pawn shop, bought a $300 ring, and when was like, hey, wait for me, kind of, half-ass proposed to her, it was all the proposal I had, but yeah, wait for me. And she was like, you're nuts. You need help. And I was like, I know, I'm getting it.
Right? You're like, I'm on the way.
Yeah. So she takes the ring, kind of shrugs her shoulders. I knew she loved me, right? But
she didn't believe you at that point.
Of course, yeah, dude. But I went, and so I remember I had a sack of dirty clothes, like a trash bag of dirty clothes, a belt, and a Bible. And I meet this guy, meet him at the church, hop in this church van. And it's a year long, so it's a 9-month in house.
Wow.
No cell phone. I live there, breathe there, like everything's there. Beans and rice and Jesus Christ is what they say.
Wow.
And so and we worked like dogs and went to church every time it was open at the church it was connected to. And so we start riding back and forth. She starts going to the church, but I get really bored, and I'd had some weird psychosis-ish moments where I felt like, oh, let me back up. So I'm at the hotel, dude, and I'm the front end supervisor, manager-ish guy for these shifts. And I've noticed there's a local Bible college right around the corner or right outside of downtown Dallas called Christ for the Nations. And
I'm familiar with it.
You are? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of the hood, dude. It's crazy. Anyways, it's
we did some missions trips through them when I was in high school.
Did you? Yeah. All of a sudden, all of these, and I was raised Mormon and Pentecostal in 2 different.
Really?
Yeah. So that's a whole different.
Bro, that's crazy.
That's bipolar in itself.
Yeah, that's seriously.
So I had like a concept of spirituality and
Right.
Christianity, and I gave my life to the Lord in front of a felt board.
Was it more, let me ask you this, was it more of like a fear God kind of thing? Or did you realize that God was love and grace and...
Dude, that's a whole other freaking episode.
I know, it's kind of a deep question, but
yeah, no,
I'm just curious because I've noticed a lot God was kind of weaponized against us, you know what I mean? And it was just this fear God kind of thing. If you don't do these certain things, God's going to be angry with you. And I just remember our pastor always used to say the verse about God spitting us out of his mouth.
So I struggled at 11 years old. I was in a youth group, and I had one of the youth leaders come to me and say, God is telling me that you need to convert your dad from Mormonism or he's going to hell. And I was 11 years old.
Dude, that's crazy.
And my dad, being Mormon, you guys probably met Mormons, right?
Oh yeah, one of my best friends is Mormon.
Me too.
Or was Mormon.
Great guys to be around, right? My home and my chaotic life, my dad's home was the only real peace that I ever
Yeah,
sensed.
dude, I could see that for sure.
And so I really just tossed the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Right. I knew he was there. I knew there was no question that there was a God that existed, but I just wasn't no thanks. You know what I mean? I didn't want to deal with that conundrum of my dad going to hell and me having to,
I mean, that's crazy, dude. 11 years old. That's kind of
nuts, dude.
It's not. I mean, to me, that's almost like borderline religious trauma.
Oh, dude, I think there's a lot of religious abuse.
Honestly, what I noticed too is a lot of the hypocrisy. Yeah.
I was that too, man.
Well, and I was too, right? Yeah. But it's like I noticed it really young, and it bothered me, and so I just always wondered, like, I'm kind of on this spiritual journey, right? Where rereading the Gospels and things like that, where it's like, but trying to go into it with a blank slate. I'd be like, okay, like develop your own opinions about like what you feel like Jesus is saying.
You have to, man, because we borrow faith until we get our own.
Right.
Right. Someone tells us about who this God is. We borrow their faith.
Say that again.
We borrow our faith until it becomes our own. Right. And like.
So give us an example, right? Like a child, right? Like my kids believe in God because I take them to church.
Right.
And now it's like we set that platform for them.
Right. But they have you and your mom, you and their mom,
right,
to be God for them, to take care of them, to provide for them, to keep them safe from harm. The day comes when they encounter a need for God, right? They've done something stupid. They've experienced a death in the family, something larger than themselves that you and your wife can't handle, crashes up against them. And your faith is no longer good enough for them. They've got to have their own or they fold, right? And oftentimes they do. Most of the time we do.
Bro, that just like washed over me. Like,
it's the truth.
It is, dude. Like, I love every second of that. Like, I'm going to literally clip that out and save it because there's so much fucking wisdom in what you just said.
But you have to, you can't give it away.
Exactly.
Right? You have to experience it.
Right.
Because that's what keeps you coming back to the water. It's like, man, no, I know it now. I know.
Dude, that's my biggest prayer over my kids right now is like, let them experience you in their life.
Yeah, but take your time, dude.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, not a 6 or 7.
Yeah, 7 and 4. Like,
yeah,
but I just like it gets my mindset in there too.
No, for sure. I mean? No, I think that's big. I mean, dude, I think it's massive.
I asked you a question that went off the rails.
No, what you asked me something I love talking.
Yeah, exactly.
If I were to do a podcast, I would invite you on to do exactly that. Talk about that,
dude. I love that kind of stuff.
Yes, dude. I believe it's who I am today. It made me who I am today. It was those.
How did you get there? So obviously through your recovery journey, right? Like you proposed to your, I'm assuming now, wife.
Yeah, the whole.
Like finish that story because
I'm sorry. So
no, that was my bad.
No, you're good. So I got this Bible. I'm bored out of my mind. I'm reading this Bible, and this Bible's starting to talk back.
Right.
Words are jumping off the page at me, and I'm like, this is weird. This is crazy. I get this like voracious appetite for Scripture. Specifically, Old New Testament. And then I start praying. I am hardcore at it, like in prayer, and I'm working like a dog. So I'm exhausted, eat, prayer, scripture. And one night I'm in this room. I think I shared a story with you once, but I'm in this room. There's like 7 of us, 4 sets of bunk beds, old beat up house. This house was an old beat up house. And I'm on my knees in the top bunk, and there's like holes in the linoleum on the floor. The door jam's like crooked, and it's shaved over and over. The top of the door shaved over and over so the door can keep closing. It's falling. I'm just trying to give you the picture here.
Yeah.
And I look up, and the whole room is white. I'm talking white, like white. And everybody's the same. Holes are still there. Door's still there. But it's all white, and this individual walks to the door. And in the moment when I saw him, I knew him. And it wasn't Jesus, because I've had other experiences where I just know this wasn't Jesus. But I knew him, and I looked at him, and I was like, man, where have you been? Like, this sucks. It's hard out here. Like, I'm struggling in this life. Like, where have you been? So I get teary.
I'm about to cry, bro.
I remember, like, I need it. Where have you been, dude? And so he walked across the room, and he puts his hand on my arm, and he says, "The word speaks to you. Tell the world what you hear."
Cool.
And I said, "Yeah, of course." Like, got it. And it was cool because, and I've since learned this and literally reading about other people's experiences. 100% believe it was an angel. When he communicated, he didn't use his mouth; he used his mind. He spoke to me mentally, right? And I communicated back mentally. If you read any other account of anybody who's had angelic experiences or out of, those types of experiences, that realm, you don't need mouth. You don't need the vibration that we use, right? So I come out of that and I go to the pastor of the church that we're connected to, the house connected, and I tell him, he's like, "You're called to be a preacher. You're going to be a preacher of the gospel." And I was like, "Yeah, brother."
Yeah, right.
"Yeah, I'm all in, dude. I'm jacked, And I go to my girlfriend at the time and she was like, "No, I'm not marrying a preacher. I'm not going to marry a preacher." I'm like, "Wait a second."
Right, huge red flag.
Yeah, like what's going on? That was hard, man, because she's the one I'm alive for her, and now I've got something else I'm living for. Right. The next decade was tough, dude, because I got sober for like 2 years. Pornography creeped back in, then it went to, and then I was Adderall I was working in the factory, and then Adderall turns into Coke, and then I had an affair, and then went into psychosis and didn't even know what to think then, because I remember being so angry at God. I'm like, wait a second, did I even ever have that experience? Right. Am I just crazy?
Right.
Psychosis is...
It is, dude. It makes you, it takes away your ability to trust yourself.
It is, because anybody who's been through psychosis knows, like, you can't convince them that what they experienced was just a chemical imbalance.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, yes. It's not just something that, you need to make sure you get on your meds, which absolutely help. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure,
if you're listening, don't get off your meds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But it was hard for me. And of course you go to psychiatrists, and so recently saw a video, like there was like 10 psychiatrists, interviewed. And the question was, how many people of your patients have you cured? And the answer to all of them was, "Oh, we don't cure patients. We just treat them," And so like that process of pills, which, dude, I'm on lithium today. I take a small dose of lithium that I will not, and that's another, we can go down that road, but, I am a proponent of doing both sides, right? Because I'm a human, I'm an eternal being, right? So there's a spiritual side of my experience, and there's a worldly side of my experience. I need to address both, right? The church I was connected to was a Pentecostal church, and so it was like everything was spiritual. Everything was spiritual, and then you throw that out, and there's just a balance, man. Right? There's balance. So
100%. Man, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, man. So I went in and out, and usually in psychosis or severe mania, it was usually in November of all times, dude. It was actually, what's today? It was usually
November 13th.
It's about the first and second week of November that I would just go off the rails.
You're almost there, bro. You got like 1.5 more days.
Yeah, the November 17th is usually like,
okay. So like 4 more days.
Yeah, call me. Not just kidding.
For real, dude. I'll call you every day.
Yeah, dude. No, all is well, man. I do believe there's not a world that exists that I return there. I believe that, man.
Say that again?
There's not a world that exists where I return to that way of living. Right. I just don't. There's just nothing in me that desires the outcome of that.
Dude, and that's the removal, right, of those things. Like, we were at church this weekend at Timberline, and Pastor Aaron was saying, like, if we to hear the voice of God in our life, right, God delivers us from something to something, but then it's also for something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't just stop there. It's like God doesn't deliver you to a new place for no reason.
Just to be comfy.
Right? And the thing is like, that's the opportunity that we have in that moment to really connect with God. Mm-hmm. Is like, okay, now he has you for something. It's your job to say yes, dude. Like, ask for clarity and then say yes to whatever that thing is, right? So it's like our podcast is a great example of that, right? Like, delivered from addiction to sobriety.
Right.
For the purpose of helping other people come out of their addiction, right? So it goes farther, and that's like, I can't tell you how many just electric moments I feel in my life where it's like I can just feel the presence of God, and we invite him into everything, and everything we do revolves around that. And like last week we had a guy in here named Han who was an amazing conversation, and just like having having the heart to listen to other people, gain some education on things that you don't understand, right? Like, but I love where you're at, right? Because I'm in the same exact boat. I'm not on lithium, but like, I take mind altering substances to help balance out
Yeah.
that bipolar mania kind of, and mine was like every 3 months, bro.
Yeah.
And I would just go off the fucking rails,
Yeah.
and everything was my wife's fault. I wasn't doing anything wrong.
You're a victim to
Everything, bro. And it was just like psychotic, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, so my wife creates this whole life outside of me because she never knew who she was going to get.
That sucks, man.
And it was crazy, dude. And the thing is like, I didn't even realize what was going on. You're just so lost in the fucking despair.
You're self-absorbed.
Yeah. And dude, I'm writing out my life story as detailed as I possibly can right now.
Good on you,
Super cathartic, bro. Like,
Yeah, dude.
it's like, I'm like 3 pages into this and it's like all I can think about, but it's very cathartic, right? Like, I love it. But anyways, I was like opening up journal entries.
Uh-huh.
And from 2014, dude, it was like the only thing I'd written in there. And it was, you could just, the despair, dude, the desperation was so fucking palpable.
Yeah.
And that was it was in 2014, it was 11 years ago. And I've been sober for about 2.
Yeah.
About 18 months. And it's just crazy, dude. Like, I was having that thing where I was like letting my mind go to negative places yesterday, and it's just like allowing it, and knowing that I'm allowing to feel that victimhood, like, and then I open that shit up. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I see just how palpable those emotions were and how I just didn't know how to deal, period. And it was like right around the time I met my wife. And just to think, dude, that there was like, fuck, man, 9 more years of that shit
She had to go through.
that I had to go through before I got to here. And so it's like, I see that, dude. It's a moment where God's like, bro, look at how far you've come. And all of a sudden I'm just washed over with all this gratitude. Right. And I start writing, and I'm just like, it's so crazy to me. Like, God just shows up in this small moment. Right. And I don't know, dude, like, I feel like the only way to access that is to say yes. Right. Like, what are you saving me for?
Yeah.
What is my purpose?
It's a dance, man. We get the invitation, but we could say no.
Exactly. It's like, you have to meet it. And I think that's why so many people struggle with Christianity, right? Because Jesus and God are going to call you to places that are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to stretch you for a fucking purpose.
Yeah.
Right? To level you up as a human being. Boom, 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 boom.
It's not for you.
Exactly. It's for the glory of the kingdom.
Yeah.
And to expand the kingdom and to live your life as an example, right? Show people how you saved yourself or how God saved you from these places to something else for a purpose.
And what was the pattern? How did it work?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, dude. Man, I couldn't agree more. You said something about victimhood that, like, I want to key on, man. And you went. There's a silver bullet for victimhood, right? It's that gratitude, man. Gratitude. Every time it's like,
blew my freaking mind.
You are a victim. Like, you can't.
Right. Of
like,
course
you have
I
to
am.
mourn. There's a portion of this, like, you mourn the loss of what of your innocence and things were done to you, right? Like, we get on this earth and we immediately stabbed by other people's problems,
100%.
right? And we're victims of that. But, like, we don't get the luxury of living in victimhood.
Well,
We have
and you know
immediate
what, dude?
responsibility to handle that.
Think about it in reality. Why would you do that?
Do what?
Live in victimhood.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, living in victimhood, I've lived it out in my life, right? Like, your mindset is the number one thing that you need to be focused on.
Right.
And it's like, it's human nature to feel to feel the victimhood, right? It's human nature. But where the difference is, where the grit lies, is in the opportunity to be like, you know what? This fucking sucks, but I'm going to do it anyways.
I want victory.
Yeah, I'm going to do it anyways because I know that in the valley of the shadow of death, God is going to meet me and God is going to grow me. Yeah, man. And then I'm going to come out the other side of that stronger for myself, for my family, for my faith, for my job.
Our fellow man.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what did God save you for? What did you walk through that valley for? There's a freaking purpose to all of that. Right? And that's where I think that Jesus and God and Christ is hard for us to accept because it requires battle, dude.
Yeah, it is a war, brother.
It requires battle in your soul.
Yeah.
And reconciliation and redemption and grace. and it's all there, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I'm fucking fired up. Like,
No, you're good, dude. I mean, I get it. I'm with you.
I'm experiencing these things in my life right now, right? And the electricity, bro, in my body is just like, I know that God is here. That fourth dimension, whatever that is, quantum computing, quantum mechanics, like, we're going to tap into as a society something that we don't understand. And
I think that we are a little
spirituality, bro.
Yeah.
The connection between humans and nature and all of it.
It's realer than the connection that we have here, like physically.
Right.
It's heavier, it's weightier, it's realer. I think we are. I think we're on the cusp. I think there's a lot of people doing that. And what the hard part is a lot of Christianity. The word Christianity is like some people that just the word causes trauma.
Right.
Because there's a whole side of that like it means one thing. And it's like, well, does it though?
Does it exactly? And that's why it's like I want to go back through the Gospels, right, and read those for myself.
Yeah. So if you look at what Jesus said to most of the disciples when he called them, he said two words to them over and over and over again before they're in their discipleship. He invites them, he invites them to dance, and he says, "Follow me."
Yeah.
Same two words every time. Like that's what he's requiring. That's what he's requiring. And
dude, and to go a little farther than that, I think it might be in I can't remember Acts maybe, but he talks to like somebody asks like what is the greatest commandment?
Yeah.
Right? And it's to honor God, and then it's to love God and to love people. And it goes on to say that everything in the Christian faith hinges off those two things.
All the law and the prophets are captured in
those two things. And what does that tell you? Follow me and love God and love people, dude. Build community, share the word.
I think that we miss the mark as Christians. I don't want to go there on that. We can, but like we do.
I think so too.
But I mean, that's where we bounce back and
grow.
We make, and I struggle to call myself a Christian. I believe very much that there is a Lord. I mean, this earth has a kingdom, and I think it has a king, and I believe that I answer to that king, and that's who I follow. But there's a lot of things that I have to toss out. That's another conversation. We can go. That's a whole other thing. But back to the sobriety thing. I struggled with the 12 steps and the sobriety groups because our main goal was sobriety. Yeah. We wanted it. We wanted as many days that we could, add up since our last big F up. You know what I mean? That we wanted to just do stack days and.
Mine was the coins, man. I wanted those coins.
Yeah, dude. You want to be able to, when they come around the room and be like, yeah, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, that's, you are aware of that? Like, have you been in a 12-step room where
No, the first couple days I was there, I did. But it's funny you mention that because you see a lot of that. Like on social media, everybody posting
which is good for
coins.
them,
dude. And it's really, really good. And, and then I see other things too where it's like, just be sober for one more day.
That's it, man.
Don't make it a big deal.
Just make it to midnight, bro. Just make it to midnight. Don't worry about tomorrow when it gets here, dude.
People compare way too much. Like, people want to be famous. Like, for what?
Yeah.
People want this. For what? That's their life. Just do the best you can and just be sober for one more day. And then it makes things a lot easier, a lot more manageable.
Yeah,
even because I'm going to be 9 years in just a couple weeks, and it's like...
It's from alcohol?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Dude, that's awesome. I forgot your anniversary.
Like, I still think that's kick-ass.
Yeah, dude.
That's worth saying. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
that's incredible.
It is, but it's... Yeah, it's just be sober today.
See, and your mind is so just like in the moment, dude, like realistic, like, okay, I'm just like going to focus on the next right thing.
Right.
And that's Aaron to a T, man. Like, I can go out and future trip, and that's why I love this partnership, right? Is because it's just like he's so cerebral where I'm emotional.
Yeah.
No, I don't say that. I'm just not smart, dude.
I don't say that either, dude. Don't say that either.
No,
that is so not true.
I'm not saying that like
don't tell yourself
I'm a moron. I'm not being self-deprecating, but I'm not smart enough to outthink a problem in the sense that, oh my God, I have all these things to do. Like this mountain I need to climb. Just take a next step.
It's not working, dude.
All it is.
Yeah.
100% all it is.
Yeah. But that's where 100% of your focus is, and that's cerebral, right? Like, that's just focusing on reality in the moment, like taking the next step, and and that works very well, like, obviously, You're a very strong-willed person, and I have so much respect for that because I can emotionally deter myself from fucking almost anything.
Yeah.
There's no way this podcast would ever got off the ground without Aaron.
Well, it takes all types, bro.
100%.
It takes all types.
What was it? The Simon Sinek quote that you sent me at the very beginning of all this? It was like, things get done when the guy with the dream meets the guy that knows how to get shit done. And that dude describes our relationship to a T.
I mean, a lot of marriages work like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure, dude.
My little
That's how
brother and
my
I
wife
work
and I
together.
are.
Like, it's got to, as long as you can speak your mind openly about, no matter what, you got thick skin. Like, no, it takes, I used to really struggle with, just self-hatred because I'm like, man, this guy can do this and this guy can do this and this guy can do, why can't I do this? And I've learned, like, dude, I'm a pretty kick-ass guy.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, the things that I'm created to do, nobody else is created to do those things.
Let's break that down. How do you get there for the listener? You know what I mean? And I think for a guy like Aaron, it's to stack small wins, right? Stack the next win, stack the next right decision. And you start to do those things and you start to build confidence in yourself, right? Like, look, I actually can do these things that I thought were impossible. And if you just stay 6 inches in front of you, like you stack those wins and all of a sudden that confidence in yourself and you get to that point, right?
Yeah.
You're like, man, I'm actually kind of an awesome guy.
No, small W is a W, dude.
Hell yeah.
We talk about that a lot with support groups or with guys I hang out with. No, I would like to eventually, if we go at some point, go into just the process of what that looked like for me like the surrender a little bit at a time of like, okay, because it didn't happen. Some people, it's like, you hear about a guy like Todd White who just all of a sudden he's no longer a drug addict or no longer. For me, it didn't happen like that. It was a arduous process, slow. I was only willing to give up a little bit of my freedom and, surrender a little at a time.
Dude, and that's kind of how I was and probably still am to a degree, and it's like working through that stuff. And I don't know, that's where I feel like the grace piece has to come in, right? Like, 'cause we're human, bro. Like,
he knows it.
Exactly. And it's like, it's all about where your heart is at, so, well, Kate or Cash, we're going to end this episode for today because we're at an hour and 15 minutes, but dude, we're going to have you back on here in a couple weeks.
Cool.
Listener, I really want to unpack that spiritual journey, that Cash has been on to get to the place that he's at now. So really the front end of this is kind of like, hey, this is where I was. This is kind of some deliverance I experienced, but we want to dive more into that with Cash because honestly, this has been one of my favorite conversations that we've gotten to have. And dude, you're very well spoken, very intelligent. So I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on today. And we'll get you back on here in a couple weeks and wrap up the story. And
yeah, dude,
I'm looking forward to that, man.
It's been an absolute honor. I want to apologize. Next time I'll just leave the phone in the car.
You're good, dude.
It's crazy,
That's
man.
the thing, right? Like, we're business professionals. We're doing our thing out in the work field, so you got to take care of that stuff.
But it has been an honor, dude. I am so excited. This is the coolest thing. Once again, I think this is awesome. I'm honored that you have me on here, and I would commend you guys for being pioneers. This is awesome, dude.
Question for you before we go, 90 seconds or less if you can.
Yeah.
It's kind of a heavy question. So I think a lot of people who are listening to this don't necessarily, if you've made it this far and it's that many episodes and you're not spiritual, thank you for having an open mind. So for those that are on the fence or resisting, but something's there, I mean, what do you say to that person, to come, not necessarily to come to Jesus, but when they know they want to explore something, they're just scared to.
Yeah, it's a simple ask.
That's what I was going to say.
It's just an ask, right? I don't think 90 seconds or less. The God I serve doesn't kick in doors. The God I serve isn't going to force anybody. He's not, he's not going to force anybody in anything, but he's readily waiting for the invitation. And I tell my children, the most powerful prayers that you can have are help. The word help. Hey, help. I don't care what it is. You lose your watch, you get in a car wreck, you're facing jail time, help.
Surrender.
It's just, if you just make the invitation, or hey, where are you? Who are you? It's just a simple question. Like ask, ASK, dude, ask,
I agree.
Seek, knock. That's it.
God wants to be in community with us.
Waiting, dude. It says God is longing to be gracious to us.
Do you have to call yourself a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim to feel that?
I don't believe that, dude. God, that's a third, fifth episode, dude. I believe our creator is waiting. I don't think Jesus needs the accolades to get the work done. He wants to get the work done. I met the most spiritual man I've ever met, the most powerful man I've ever met. Won't say the name Jesus, and I met him in 12-step rooms. Those guys are powerhouses. They're not Jesus followers. Now that's a hard thing for people to swallow, right? My pastor watches this. He's probably going to call me in my office and say, well, let's talk, but yeah, dude.
Dude, and that's the thing is like so ask the question, like, how do you, and I'll leave the listener with this, like, how do we have understanding for those kinds of things, right? Like, how do we live in community when there's so much difference, right? And people are afraid of the differences, and it's like, at the end of the day, like, you, listener, believing in Christ or not is not going to damage my salvation, right? Like, my job is to live my life as an example. And if you want part of what I have, come and talk to me and I'll share it with you. But if you don't, I'll still love you, and that's what I think Jesus called us to, right? Like, I'll still love you. I'll still show up for you. I'll still support you as long as you're pouring into the world and being a good person and living your purpose, and who am I to say that that's wrong? Yeah. I don't even know if what I'm doing is right.
Dude, I'm not going to be on the throne when you get there. Right? That's not my job.
Amen.
Right? My job is to tell you about.
And ask questions, dude. Ask questions. Like, question your faith. Question God. That's what
God,
forces
he can handle it.
Forces you to look for answers.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Cash, you're a badass, dude. I'm so excited.
Right. Thank you, sir.
So excited to have you back on. But guys, we just want to say thank you. Aaron, you're awesome, bro. Love you, man.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. Hope you have a good one.